Welcome everyone to episode 4 of Shea Talk. I'm your host, Dartmouth High School Assistant Principal, Mr. Shea. Today's show, I'll be speaking with students Abby Zhao and Amy Chang, who partake in our famous and highly successful math team. We'll talk about what's going on in the program and what events they have coming up. Stay tuned, we'll be right back for another episode of Shea Talk.
Dartmouth High School is committed to providing a quality education for all learners. Dartmouth High School is home to over 1,000 students with a variety of academic and extracurricular offerings that make Dartmouth High School a special place to learn. At Dartmouth High School, we have a program for you. From our world-class music programs to our exceptional varsity athletic offerings to the more than 20 advanced placement courses, students at Dartmouth High School have unique opportunities to grow and develop throughout their high school experience. Our mission at Dartmouth High School is to prepare all students for whatever opportunities they wish to pursue upon graduation. Whether you plan to continue your education at a 2, 4 trade or technical school, enter directly into the workforce, or volunteer in service to our nation, Dartmouth High School will prepare you for the future of your choosing. We invite students considering Dartmouth High School to shadow a current student, to experience a day in the life of a Dartmouth High School student. We are confident that you will walk away believing that Dartmouth High School is a special place to learn and to grow. We look forward to seeing you around Dartmouth High School soon.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Shea Talk. I have two members from our math team. I have Abby and Amy here. Welcome. We're excited to talk to you guys about the math team and about the season that you've had. So let's start off. You guys are having a very successful season this year. Is that correct?
Yes. Throughout the 3 years that I am in math team, this is actually the best season we have so far. We are so far at the 3rd place in the Southeast competition, which I'm so proud of my members this year, honestly.
So we're gonna deep dive about later on and like how you get involved in clubs and activities and stuff like that. But let's talk about the math team. So when we hear math team, what is it? Is it a group competition, individual competition? Amy, why don't you take this question?
It's sort of a combination of both. For the majority of competitions, it's individually based, where each person does a set of 3 rounds based on multiple different math topics. But there is one round in the end, which is called the team round, where everyone is able to collaborate with each other and like check each other's answers to make sure that we're correct.
Excellent. So when you're practicing, what does a practice look like? I see from the other activities and clubs where it's more like rigor, but this sounds more like intense math kind of stuff. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is. So since we know that Amy talked about we have like different topics for different rounds, so we will have practice that is actually based on the previous year's competition that we can use as our preference. And then everybody would be like in the team will be assigned for 3 rounds. We're just focusing on tackling those questions, those problems from each topics like that.
So do you know the topic going in, Amy, ahead of time, or is it a surprise when you get to the competition?
We know the topics beforehand. We kind of have everyone like schedule their preferences, and we kind of try to schedule it to fit those. And then we can just practice our individual rounds so we can focus on what we actually need to do.
There's actually one exception for our playoff. Usually will be the top 8 schools get into playoff every year, and playoff is actually open topics, so that would be the only competition that we will have is like surprise us that we have no idea what it is. So actually, like we're actually preparing for the upcoming playoff, which happening 2 days later, and we're very nervous for it, also excited actually.
Absolutely. So when you talk about working and preparing and everything, there had to be a point when you got involved, and you said 3 years ago, so you were a sophomore. Were you nervous that you weren't ready for the math, or were you not? How did that work? Because there's different math we learn at sophomore year versus senior year, correct?
Yeah. For me, it wasn't a big difference because I was skipping ahead a lot of classes compared with others. But yeah, I actually learned a lot more things I did not know before after these 3 years, like conics and especially language barrier that makes me actually, I learned a lot of vocabularies during these 3 years in math team.
Oh, absolutely. Do you feel the same way, Amy, or?
Yeah, somewhat. I have had some sort of experience with like math competitions in the past. Not exactly the same structure, but like a lot of the questions and the kind of the process that you need to go about actually answering them was fairly similar. So I kind of jumped into this understanding what I should be prepared for.
Excellent. Now that we know what math team is, let's talk about how you got involved. So each tell me, how did you get involved with the math team?
I believe it was my math teacher at the time, Miss Church, kind of ushered me into it. It was really like that. I don't think I would have known about it otherwise.
Absolutely. One of the reasons why we do this.
So I came into this school as a sophomore 3 years ago, and at the time I was in Mrs. Costa's pre-cal class, and there were some math members who graduated last year, like Jeffa and John Cons. So my Mrs. Costa was like, "Oh, you're really good at math. Why don't you try to join math team?" And those two. Like Jeffa and John Cons, they like, "Oh yeah, I will introduce you to the teacher. I will introduce you to all the math members," and that was how I joined.
Always recruiting. People are always recruiting. That's great. So in my research on math teams and what it's like, it almost seems like it's a lot of problem solving. You have a problem in front of you and you've got to get to the solution of the problem. Is that kind of correct?
Yeah, it's one of the parts that we are doing in math.
So in life, are you guys like problem solvers? Do you like Sudoku puzzles, or like are you a Wordle person, or crosswords? Is that in your wheelhouse, or?
It's actually not really what I like a lot. So for me, because English is not my first language, so like Wordles and those like English classes or history classes actually something that gives me a hard time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like logical solving problems, but for more like Wordles and vocabs, it's really not my thing.
Don't worry, Wordle is a real struggle for me too. I don't really freely admit that to everyone, but so don't worry. I'm more on the math side in the world anyways. What about you, Amy? Are you a problem solver? Do you like that kind of recreational aspect of it? Is that like your sense of peace, or?
Somewhat. I feel like I am a pretty big fan of puzzles, and I feel like a lot of the math problems are just like puzzles themselves, but like with math integrated into them. So it's really, you need to find out what the process is to find the solution rather than just knowing the different topics about math.
Yeah, absolutely. Just staying with this kind of problem solving or whatever, do you guys have like a specific memory you remember from a competition where like it clicked, it was like that aha moment, or was there like a team came together? It sounds like this year the team is really bonded to get closer as you guys are having a lot more success than you have had in the past.
For competitions, it's always hard to start with what you think that you actually need to tackle on, what you need to practice. And luckily that we have a really strong team and we have really strong members that we can help each other out. Like we don't always have to ask our coach for help because we always can meet up for practice like outside of school other than our own practice time for the whole math team. And I really appreciate that we have like everybody's super helpful. Everybody is, like you said, bonding together this year. Yeah, I think this is what makes our team stronger this year.
Amy, do you have a specific memory moment, aha moment where you're like, I got it, or?
Well, that does kind of happen every so often with just in general. But it really, I feel like that it shows the most during the team round when you can actually see that happen with other people. And we're able to like get excited with each other, like checking each other's answers, making sure that we're getting it correct, making sure we get a flawless round, get the most amount of points.
And let's talk about the team round. That seems, like you're saying, it's the camaraderie, it's the together. What's your role in supporting the team and also solving? Like where do you find yourselves fitting on the team?
So me personally, I always go for the first question and group up with one of our member because that actually goes really fast for the first question. So we will be able to check our work together right after we finish with spending like 2 to 3 minutes. And then Amy is always solo for the second question. Amy is such a reliable member, honestly. And then third question is usually the worst problem because it worth more. So it would usually be we all grew up together right after we finished the first two, and then spend about like 5 or more longer time, 5 minutes or more, to tackle the last one.
Oh, excellent. Is it a first come, first serve, or you have a specific amount of time? Like the first one to get all 3 complete, or is it the specific amount of time? Everyone has the same amount of time?
It's 10 minutes per round.
Okay.
So it's limited time. That's what makes us panic all the time during the team round.
So as we're wrapping up and we're kind of coming to a close, just tell me why someone should join the math team.
I have to say, it's not just when you love math that you should join math team. It's anything that you think, as long as you think math is interesting, and you like to meet some people that you think that you might not meet before, but actually everybody is so involved into other activities, other clubs as well, and you have a lot of topics to talk about actually. We're not just math nerds, I have to say, we're not just math nerds.
Well, I have to say it kind of goes back to a previous question. I'd say also like if people like problem solving a lot or like puzzles in general, then I think it'll be a pretty good fit for them as well. And also just if they have friends in it, then it also doesn't hurt to go because again, it's a very tightly knit community. So it really doesn't hurt if you're not the biggest fan of math, but you just get some time to spend with your friends as well.
Excellent. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for giving up a pace to spend with us and can express your passion for the team. Good luck in your state competition. We'll be cheering you all on. Have a good one. Bye, everyone.
St. Patrick's Day was originally celebrated with feasts held in the honour of St. Patrick, one of Ireland's patron saints. Over the years, St. Patrick's Day has become a popular holiday all over the world, celebrated in many different ways in many different cultures. Traditionally celebrated on March 17th, what started out as a feast and a church service to honor a saint has become parades or chocolate coin treasure hunts for kids. Happy St. Patrick's Day!
I'd like to thank everyone that participated in today's show, especially the people behind scenes that make me look really good. On our next episode, I'll be speaking with some of the contestants from Dartmouth's Finest, coming up Friday, March 18th. So stay tuned for that and more on Shea Talk.